where were we? It's funny now, just like a 3-minute break. I mean, it's good, it's healthy, but it does kind of reset things. But maybe that's also a good thing. Just like, let's get the lay of the land again and kind of reassess. So, at the very end, a couple minutes ago, we just had Copilot just like spew out a bunch of code. What is this actually doing? So, transcription item here, kind of weird. This is just the video clip record, right? We have the table is called metadata table, but it's really the video clip table. And then input key is the key for the record, and so but this is get item output, which is not the record. I don't know why we wouldn't just hold on. Let's just ditch this dot item for that. Again, it's persisting with this video clip. Not found is what we want to say here. Okay, so now video clip record is a hash map of string to attribute value. So that clarifies things a little bit. So that means that really we have let transcription be video clip that get transcription or something like that, right? So then, oh right, I said right. There we go. Okay, so now transcription is an attribute value, that we are unpacking, but this is a lie. This is a lie because what we're actually after is not the transcript. It's actually the there's a thing inside of transcription called segments. So let segments be transcription dot as m dot something. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then let's just call it transcription segments. There's no or okay found for enum results. Of course not. What do we actually have? Map error. There you go. I'm gonna do that. There is an or. There's an okay or. What's the difference between doing oh, I see, because this is an option. Right. Okay. Yeah. And now everything is yellow squigglies because it's too long. It's 10 lines too long. Oh no. Let's do this. Let's take this logic. It's gonna get us our transcription, and we're gonna move that. We're gonna refactor and move that into a function. There you go. It's not necessarily a pretty function. We're passing in a bunch of details. Do we need to pass in payload? Also, how about some white space here to kind of keep track of what's going on? Okay, so I'd rather not pass in, like, app context maybe makes sense, although we don't need all of app context. We only really need the DynamoDB client ENT. There you go. So let's do that. Yep. And then instead of taking the whole payload, we really just want the key. Let's not even be responsible for cloning that. Okay, are you happy with that? No, it expects a string, so I guess we'll take a string. Okay, there. Now, of course, we broke the broke the interface over here, but we can fix this. So we need DynamoDB here. This needs to be payload dot input key. Yeah, and this doesn't need to be that. And then it's complaining about right, because we're moving it. Where was I? Can we just clone? There you go. All right, let's rename the function. Rename symbol. Oops. Retrieve transcription. All right. There we go. So now, what we've done is we're fixing this issue where the step function had too much data. Like we needed to provide, the way this was set up before, we needed to pass all of the transcription segments into this program that calls the OpenAI API to summarize the transcription, to generate just an overview of what happened in this part of the video. And we were the process that runs before this was transcribing the video that was getting retrieved and was being held in the state in the step function. It was then invoking this program, and in doing so, it was just too much data for the step function to hold. So instead, I mean, we're already interacting with DynamoDB to save the result, so why not also have it retrieve the data from the record? So the only thing we have to pass in here is the much shorter context and the key for the item, which we were passing anyway, and then we don't have to pass that data through the step function. So maybe this all works. Let's do this. Let's run our build and push all containers task, which hopefully will work. Maybe we'll be it'll take some time, but it will hopefully be faster than how it was before rebuilding everything. We also need to need to do the CDK deploy to update the step function and such, because we made some changes since. One thing this task doesn't do is this task does not tell the Lambda functions to update themselves when the images are pushed. Actually, yeah, let's take a note of that. So once we're done with all this task stuff, the other thing that I really would like to do before we kind of wrap up this kind of phase of the project is figuring out how deploys are going to work, which is this item right here, figure out how we're going to deploy things for real. So we want some automation around doing the thing that I'm doing now. So like when I push up code, we can trigger a deploy. But also, so there's, let me take some notes in here for future me. I assume this is empty right now. Yeah. So let's do it this way. What do we need to do? So CDK deploy trigger on releases and on pull requests. I mean, technically, I'm going to be able to. Interesting. Getting a warning about encoder being overloaded. Are we good? Seems so. I will have the ability to like just from my task in VS Code trigger stuff, but it would be nice to be able to click a thing from GitHub, like push a PR and then be like, hey, deploy this, right? The thing is right now is that the deploy happens in a few parts. How do I want to frame this? Let's do this a different way. Instead of thinking about tasks, let's be like, if I could find a way to trigger a deploy that gets everything in place in the target environment. And right now we just have one environment. At some point, if this at some point I might have like a testing environment and like a real one. But what are the things that need to be in place, right? So let's say we want to let's say requirements. What are our requirements? So can deploy front ends in a way that we can choose to switch independently. Right. So today I have a GitHub action that bundles the front end and ships it to S3. And for it to actually be served, the backend has to be updated to point the CloudFront distribution to the new location in S3. Like we have separate versioned deploys of the front end so we can switch between them. I still want that. I still want that capability. But I also want to be able to trigger deploy and then it actually takes effect without having to like do things in a bunch of places, but still can but maintain versioned prefix. Right. Does that make sense? I think let's descope this a little bit, right? So let's say don't worry about syncing with front ends. Just so I do have a a version number that is an environment variable with the default and the CDK source code where that version number of the front end gets updated. We're just going to leave that as is. We're not going to solve that. Just leave it as is. Can push CDK changes. Build Docker images via GitHub Actions. Is that really the only requirement right now? It's like, hey, I have this version of the code. It's either like a tagged release or it's a pull request. Just go ahead, apply the CDK changes. Oh, right. Third thing. Update lambdas to use the new images. Those are the three things that are like, all three are required to actually fully deploy the backend, but they are not linked. Right? You can trigger each of those things independently, and doing none of those three things in and of themselves causes the others to happen. Right? Pushing new tags in the GitHub, well, in the ECR repos, causes that lambdas that use those images to be updated. At least for the batch jobs, they just use the latest image, right? They're just set up to use the latest image. At some point in the future, like when we're like, oh, we have a real production environment, and there's, if this was a thing that money was on the line, like if this was a paid product, I would be concerned about like, oh, this environment is on this version of these things, and we like lock everything together. That's kind of what's going on with the front end now. Like we would go fully into the this version of the code, this version of the infrastructure is on this version of this lambda. But we don't need to do that. Anyway, this is the next thing. While we're waiting for this build to happen, I just wanted to kind of touch on it. We'll figure that out. And part of that is going to be building Docker images via GitHub Actions. And I think we'll have to see how troublesome this is. We'll push to the GitHub container registry and then have it mirror the ECR. That seems to be a recommended way. Well, there goes my bit rate. We don't like that. We're pushing. Oh, yeah. Maybe we're just competing for bandwidth. This is old. Yeah. We're pushing. Video ingester and under job. I might just interrupt this. This is going to negatively impact the stream. I think we did push a lot of things. Let's go see what we pushed. ECR. The main thing was just we updated the summarized transcription lambda. Everything is a little slow at the moment. Okay. Summarized transcription lambda was last recorded. Oh, pull time. Okay. Pushed. So we didn't push summarized transcription lambda. That's bad. I guess. Okay. Can I? Let's see. What is it? It's something bake. if I go over to here, we can put a new terminal and click Telegram, bake. Yeah, so not bake all, but bake specifically summarize transcription. Does that work? Bam. So yeah, we had the image, so everything was cached, but just hadn't been pushed and tagged. Is it? Interesting. Okay. With this SHA, huh? 6375 A. Doesn't seem like it. Would you like to try again? Oh, is this not push? Wait. So what's the tasks.json push build and push all containers? Oh right, so there is a shell script. Push all. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to pass -- push and also do some other stuff. Let's see. Well, that doesn't work. Hold on. ECR domain. Wait. Yeah, I do need that. But it's right here. Export ECR domain equals the thing that I just copied. And then we do this command. I'm supposed to do export AWS profile. Yeah, there you go. And do that. Okay, and then the command that I ran before, -- push. There we go. Okay. MB, huh? Wait, what? 121 of 116? Is that what I just saw? What does it mean? Okay, so that's the image. The Lambda function that runs this image doesn't get updated when I push a new tag. So we have to go tell it to update. And that's something that I do want our deploy process to eventually do. Yeah, you can see last modified 5 days ago. So we just have to deploy new image. It's already the URI is set to latest. So all we have to do is click save, and it'll be like, oh, there's a new image. Let me go grab it and optimize it to be run. And this doesn't take that long, fortunately. And then we need to do. Hold on, let me close things that we don't need all of this stuff open. We're gonna run CDK deploy, so it's gonna push the CDK changes we worked on earlier to strip out passing the transcription segments to the task, and that somehow changes other things. Why is this changing? So resource task monitoring status lambda rule D98. Didn't I already do this? Huh. Did this fail? Was that the error that I saw before, prior to us trying to do the the Docker build xbake stuff. Keep a closer eye on this time. So yeah, so far today we it's kind of funny. At the beginning of the stream, as I was kind of demoing the UI, I triggered this process, and while we were working on task monitoring, the process ran until it ran into an issue. But yeah, so what we're trying to do, there are, I think, two main things, aside from any bugs I run into as I continue to use this program. Two main things I want to accomplish before we're kind of like at a completed phase. So this was the error. One is being able to get task status updates on background tasks, right? So that in the UI, when I say, hey, go upload all this to YouTube, I don't have to log into AWS and look at behind the scenes to figure that out, what's going on. I could, but I'd rather not. And two, making it easier to deploy the full app, or at least the back end, right? Doing the things that I was just doing. It'd be cool if I had that in GitHub already, because then I wouldn't like have my bitrate when I'm trying to push those images and build the images. Okay, so what's the error? Invalid state machine definition. The resource provided, AWS SDK events put events, is not recognized. Yeah, that doesn't look right. What is AWS SDK events put events? It looks like nonsense. It's almost as if something. Oh wait, I ruined the reference. Someone, or dare I say it, something. Just like without any knowledge of what it was doing, implemented this. So is there AWS SDK? No. Wait, what is this? Provide a resource. AWS states AWS SDK events put events. Interesting. Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is coming from what we're doing here. I feel like this is probably like that's what that's supposed to be. Use camel case though, it says. IAM action events put events. See, that looks right. Let's look in CloudFormation. We can look maybe a little more in detail at what's going on here. CloudFormation. And then do I have the AWS SDK or CDK docs? Nope. Okay. Let's see. CDK TS API doc. Okay, that works. API reference. So we are after what? So step function tasks. Step function tasks. I don't suppose they're just like an event bridge one. Hey, look, there's an event bridge put events. So maybe I should just use that. Right? And then we have just entries. Amazing. And then none of this stuff is relevant. Well, maybe that last one will be relevant. Oh yeah, we have an extra thing. And then detail type is supposed to be detail type with lowercase d. And source and detail, ctail, detail. And detail is supposed to be sfn task input from object. So we don't have to do this JSON formatting stuff. We can actually just build it like, do I have sfn dot task input from object? I think it's just step functions. There we go. Well, we'll do this, and this is going to be like that, and then all of this goes away, and what? Oh, I must have somehow added a semicolon there and it auto-formatted the nonsense. What? 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 What did it do? Hold on. I don't know how I did that. I feel like that might be a biome bug. I gotta say, so this is not an attack or anything, but I gotta say, in a long time using Prettier, I have never seen something like this happen. I'm pretty sure, like, I didn't somehow hit some key combination that find and replaced something with a semicolon, so I'm not sure what happened there. But it's kind of weird. All right. Well, anyway, I'm gonna copy this, and we're gonna undo until this nonsense goes away. Okay, so fun. There. I like this better anyway. I was just so lured in, right, by Copilot being like, here you go, here's the thing. But no, there is an actual defined event bridge put events task for step functions. We don't have like an event bus prop for this, do we? Because if we did, that would be a thing to like, oh, if we're passing a specific event bus to use, then we would use that instead of just using the default. But this is fine. So let's try deploying this. I guess while I'm here, let's take a look at how the call AWS service task is supposed to be called. I wonder. I don't know. What deal is there? But yeah, okay, so same thing. But yeah, now it knows, hey, this role should be able to put events on this event bus. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. I get a little stretch in. Alright, will it work, or will there be a different error? So far, so good. What's gonna be good? Actually, here's a thought. So we have all these schemas. Do we have a task schema for defining the shape of the task data? Let's just go over to where all our schemas are. Do we have like a... we have lots of things, but not one for tasks. So let's make a schema that defines kind of what is the shape of the data that our task process, like the DynamoDB table stores. Go Copilot, just give me all the things. I mean, this is wrong. Let's go we'll just go look at DynamoDB. Was that this tab that we were looking at those things? Nope. Okay, well, we'll hunt it down. Because ultimately what's in the table is what our CRUD API will return to the front end. And while there's a lot that can be said about the idea of just like naively taking what's in the database and echoing it into the front end, it's not something I'm solving now. This is how it works. So we have an ID, yes. We have a created at and an updated at, yes, that are datetime strings. We have a status, a time, and a TTL. So a status, the status is going to be pending, running, completed, failed, timed out, timed out, aborted, something else. What was the other one? Hey, I have a file. I have a file open that has all of these in it, right? So pending redrive. Pending redrive is the other one that is unlikely to occur in practice. There is not a name or a description. There is a task type. Oh, that's cute. I could have done that, but instead I did in lowercase. I decided, just to be different, ingestion, upload, rendering. And record ID. It's just a string. And what's required? Not all of this. So record ID isn't required because we won't have it initially in some cases. Task type is not required because we will not have it initially in some cases. Maybe we will. Let's say it's required. Updated at, we'll say it's not required, but created at will be. Status and ID will be required, and so this will be the shape of the task type that we will then be able to turn into our TypeScript and Rust types using that task. Right, so if we look at types.ts, I look for task. There we go. Let's say it shouldn't have additional properties. I'm going to say it shouldn't have additional properties. Oops. Anything else? Sure. Description. And why do I need a comment? Alt-C. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Right, we were deploying. How did that go? Where did that go? I guess that was done. Yep, that finished. And then we repurposed the terminal automatically. All right, go away. All right, so if I go back to step functions, let's test this out. So if I go into the UI, interesting. That should refresh. Actually, something I've noticed is that the refresh, I do see it hits the back end. It doesn't seem to do updates. I wonder if I have some kind of caching happening that's not configured correctly. Let's do a hard refresh. That typically will cause, yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, so what did we do to kick this off? So we went over here, we hit ingest videos, proceed. And it immediately succeeds because it's a synchronous process. Go over to tasks, I do a hard refresh because for some reason the data doesn't refresh. That was from before. We don't have the data yet, or it's broken. It could be broken. It's running. It said send start event, so that should have happened. Can we go to our Lambda and see if our Lambda was invoked and how many times? So here's our task monitoring Lambda. We can go to monitor. We can monitor the task monitoring Lambda for the last hour. Oh, we don't see anything there. That's interesting. Can we look at X-ray traces? Did I turn on X-ray for this Lambda? Does it helpfully take us to the Lambda when I click that? Nope. All right. So task. Okay. Yeah, nothing in there. So we probably don't have X-ray turned on for that Lambda. Let's fix that. I like X-ray. I like application tracing. It is on. It is on. Okay. But there are no traces. Oh, I have a space. That'd be why. Okay, add to query. Run query. Anything in the last 15 minutes? Yes. 2 minutes ago. Duration, 70 seconds. What happened? What did it do? Record success. Duration, memory size, memory used. I don't know. This took. Old boot. Maybe. Okay, so that means that if I go back to the UI and maybe do a hard refresh, do we have no? Nothing new there. So odd. Did this time out? Let's go back to the Lambda. Let's look at, let's refresh this. Yeah, there were errors. Duration, invocations. 2 invocations make sense, right? Because there's the one from when the status of the step function changed, and there was the one we manually sent. But both of those errored out. So why? Can we just look at the logs? That might be a little bit more straightforward to see what's going on. So there were 2 log streams from the lambdas being run. 10:45. So right now, an error occurred. Unhandled exception. An error occurred. Calling update item operation. Value provided in match in expression attribute values. Unused in expressions. Running. Oh, right. So, I removed that condition. I removed the condition that referenced this value. And so now the query is invalid. Okay, sure. I think everything else is used though, right? Like now? Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's deploy again. So anyway, going back to this task schema, right? So obviously I showed that I have type generation that uses this JSON schema and all the JSON schema files in this directory to create types. It creates both Rust and TypeScript types. So my thought is, hey, I can define the schema here. I'm not really using it in task monitoring because I have just like an embedded Python thing that isn't taking advantage of the type generation. But in the front end, I can use that TypeScript type to define, here's the shape of the data that I'm going to get back from the back end, which I think will be helpful. Assuming I've done things, assuming me and Copilot together have written the correct keys for the properties, then it should be good. Death Row. Hello. Some lovely dancing skeletons in the chat. Good morning or afternoon. How's it going? Brainless is here too. All right, so I guess I don't know if we're gonna be able to test that with that change unless I find another stream to ingest. How goes the programming? Pretty good, pretty good. We kind of had a mixture of kind of like doing two things at the same time. One is troubleshooting an issue with the stream ingestion process. And on the other hand, curious about Brainless's Elixir metaprogramming, but also on the other hand, working on kind of task status stuff for the UI so that we can see what the status of the background tasks are, these asynchronous like things, and hopefully eventually get to the point where we don't just have like, oh, here's a UUID, but instead have like, oh, this is currently, or this failed to upload or failed to ingest the stream from the 26th of December, which is how far I am, how much of a backlog I have of streams to turn into YouTube VODs. Well, look, each of these is going to be 3 episodes. We got 3, 6, 9, hold on, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 times 3. 36 videos to upload to YouTube, if I can just get through all of these. It's a fair number. It's really interesting on the YouTube side of things. Like back in August into September, I caught up with my backlog. Like I turned all the backlog of VODs into VOD episodes. And I was posting them daily and seeing the change, and kind of like, if you post daily, it does seem to have a positive impact on how much traffic YouTube sends your way, which you would think. I mean, I guess the people that have subscribed like it too, because a bunch of people didn't unsubscribe being spammed with a bunch of videos daily. I guess they like it. I guess, yeah. Anyway, don't need to examine that more closely. But yeah, what is how is the Elixir going, Brainless? In Elixir news, at some point I feel like I'm always saying that, but at some point I do want to come back to the thing that we have the OpenPR for, the integration with Twitch chat. Would it be, and I did find, I think I mentioned this the other day, I did find this learn OTP with Gleam repo that looked kind of interesting. I've not actually started looking at it in depth yet, but would it be more of interest to do Gleam or Elixir for TwitchBot? I mean, if it was just me on my own, not, just to do it, it would probably be like Node and TypeScript, but that's just, the easiest thing, the most at-hand thing for me. But it's nice to mix things up. Braylon says, doing fine, just refactoring some code from another team, creating some service clients to organize the logic for calling other services. Sure. How do you feel about I mean, I think I gather that kind of the stuff you and adjacent teams work on are not homogenous, like using different languages, which I think is where I'm gathering what the service client stuff is. Or is this like everyone is using the same language, so this is just like, here's a library to call things in one language. Thinking about, being in the circumstance instead where it's heterogeneous, where different teams are using different languages. Do you do like a use like some kind of client generator to generate clients for services? Multiple languages, mostly Elixir, Rust, some Java. Sure. Not. I should. I mean, at some point I could look at Java again, but I don't want to. In the same way that I don't want to look at PHP again. I know it's much better than it was 20 years ago. But I don't know. It's the trauma. That language, the experiences back then were not great. But yeah, so what do you say? Elixir is more robust as it's been around for longer. Ecosystem is larger. However, as you know Rust, you might feel more familiar with Clang. Interesting. I know some Rust. This is a client services and sets up everything needed to call Expedia or TripAdvisor and then parses the response. Yes. So external service client, right? Not like a library for a client for internal like microservice stuff, but more like wrappers around external service. Both. Okay, sure. And are you like you got to tell me at some point if I ask questions that are like, oh no, this is secret. This is stuff I can't talk about. But are you doing like well, I guess that's a question, right? So this is a client service, as in sets up everything. So this is like a service. Is it a service that calls a service, or is it a library that calls the external service? Anyway, just me being curious about how things shape up. Because on the one hand, it could be very convenient, especially if you have many different teams that all want to call the same thing, and you don't have too many different languages. Maybe it makes sense just to write a library for them to be able to import, versus we can see stuff happening. Let's kick off like this process can be run in parallel. Let's kick off another one so we can see if our event stuff happens. So no, I have to go into it. Okay, let's go into it. Click ingest videos, proceed. This is fun because every time I click that, it costs me money. Not a lot of money, but it's doing like speech to text and a bunch of other stuff. Easier than it sounds. Basically creating a logic around the library we use to do requests. Each service client will have different base URL header. Oh, sure. Different parsing logic. Right. I mean, I don't think it would necessarily be big, but if you have enough different teams that are all like at different times needing to like adopt either an internal or external service, maybe it makes sense just to get ahead and write the library, and it just versus I've definitely there we go. This is the second process running. Did we get a task? Maybe I have to do a hard refresh. There must be some kind of caching going on. There we go. So it's running. It's pending. What's the crying? Don't mention library. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Is that there are people that are definitely like, oh yeah, don't we don't do that. We don't share code. We share services, right? And then Death Row asking a question: do I work for a company or do a freelance work? I, back in the day, I started my career as a freelancer, which I don't necessarily recommend, but it was very interesting, doing that. But yeah, I have an employer where I'm working as a software engineering manager at the company. And yeah, I could say more, but yeah, it's not like I talk about the fact that I stream at work, but I don't generally talk about my work on stream. It is not like classified or anything, but it is a sensitive. It's not like I'm working in a field where there would be nothing confidential for me to say. Yeah, no, no worries. Never feel like you can't ask a question. It's up to me, so I'm a spy. Got it. No. It is healthcare adjacent, let's say. So we have task information, but currently the UI doesn't show any of the details. We haven't updated the UI yet. But what we can do is we can go into DynamoDB and see what record information was stored, right? Excuse me. So we have this tasks table, and we can look at the items in there. Is the stream down or is it me? Not dropping frames. Things are good. Oh, okay. Stream's up. Yeah, good. Thanks. All right, so here we go. Okay, so here's our first task record that was created after the all the changes and the fixes and stuff, right? So we have a null record ID, which is not correct. Shouldn't be null. But task type ingestion is right. Why is record ID null? See, it was until you said something. Is that not PG-13? What is PG-13? Right? It's PG-13 unless there's like graphic nudity or multiple certain words. Thanks for the 30 bits for that big emote. Yeah, I don't have rules for this stream. I definitely there's a vibe, I guess, of like I don't swear often. I can, I have, but I don't think it fits the mood. It's kind of, not too serious here. But I suppose I don't swear on Twitch or at work. Yeah. Every word out of your mouth is bad. Sure. Yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, other places, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I could be that. Like everyone is multiple people, just like context and circumstance. I just don't feel like it's the persona I wanna to show to the world here and now. I think if I was really getting into like a game, right? So like Cyberpunk or something else serious, very much more adult focused sort of thing, then yeah, but some more Cyberpunk. Anyway, so progress. I need to figure out why record ID is null. But for now, it is time to find some lunch. So thanks so much for coming out to the stream today, for the bits and for the conversation. And I might have to do. I need to figure out. Incomplete thought. Let me think about that some more before I say that. Let's go find someone to go raid.